Here's how grit,
Um,
networking, and
so what does
referrals
it mean?
fuel a
Like,
rock
talk about the
solid
process of
research
defending your
career.
PhD thesis, right? Is it just a matter of getting them from the three people and like how not times, but how hard is it, right? Is like they're like is it like how much um educational vigor they put you through, right?
So, great question because a lot of people are thinking about starting a PhD program, and I've talked to many people. So I advise a number of people who are interested in making decisions, and I take a lot of pleasure in like trying to help in that capacity. The first question I ask them is why? Why do you care to do it? Because it's so hard. It requires resilience. Like so, resilience, of course, is important to achieve pretty much anything that's difficult in life.
Because it's like 3, 4 years of your life, you're getting paid some money, but not money that you should be getting paid. It's probably pretty stressed on your marriage. You're married, like you probably have no social life. It's like you're all in that amount of time, right?
Absolutely. All the things that you mentioned are the reasons that it's important to know why you're doing it. Like and have the confidence that this is actually something that you care a lot about.
And if money's not the reason, you probably don't need to do it, right?
Money is not should not be the reason to do a PhD. Absolutely. Um, to me, the reason was like a real desire to learn more about a scientific area, and my job at the time. I was a scientist or research engineer in Microsoft Research. I still didn't have the time I need in order to advance my skills and knowledge in the area that I'm working on. So it was kind of like a strong desire to learn. That was the motivation for me. And from a practical point of view, like in a place like Microsoft Research or Google Research, it's much harder to advance, like climb up the ladder and get more senior positions and have a research agenda of your own to explore the problems that you care about, not somebody else cares about, without having that credential and experience.
So in your career, you had some great jobs like Google, Microsoft, IBM, other companies. How have you been able to manage getting such great jobs? Like, how's that worked for you?
You mean why did I get the job, or well, I'm not
Like how
figuring.
do you go from one great job to another great job to another great job? Like most people that have a great job, they get laid off or leave the job. They go another job that like might not be so good, right? You've been able to like manage, like have like same level jobs from what I see, right? Like same type of capacity, like great jobs you've had, right?
First of all, thank you. Humbled by what you're saying. To me, it's really about doing, like, putting your heart in the work, because in my mind, the reason I got better jobs is because of referral. Honestly, like people write good referrals for you when you've done good work with them, and that's like part of it. Of course, the interviews demonstrate, like, if you're after you make a referral for somebody, they interview you. But oftentimes, really strong candidates don't get the interview because nobody's referring them. So, like, if you're looking for a job, the most important thing is to get a strong referral, and then you'll be invited to interview to like demonstrate that you actually can do this job well. But the interview itself is not actually enough to test the skill. In my mind, the interview is just like the handshake, and then you come in and you start working with the team. And if the team is happy with your performance, you continue building with them, and that's the real test. That's the real interview in my mind. The first few months. So with that in mind, I think I approach every position starting with as a new learning opportunity. It's like I'm a sponge, and I want to learn everything I can. I also bring my fresh perspective, so I'm not shy about telling everyone in the team respectfully what I think of the work that's happening and where the gaps are, because that once you are in the organization for a while, you lose that fresh perspective. Like whatever you come with from a different organization, you no longer have that perspective because you're now an insider. So I use that opportunity to like transfer as much as I can of my own perspectives to the leadership and other team members to really help. And like when you work in an organization, you don't care about the organization as a whole. Why are you even here? Like, of course, you can get a salary, but I never really approached my work as just salary because I don't find that interesting enough, I guess.
So you talk the importance of having referrals. Can you also talk about the importance of networking? Because even scientists need to network, like talk about the importance of networking for young scientists out there. I think like a lot of make this up me, but I think a lot of the developers, scientists, like, oh, I'm gonna be hired on my skill set or only, right? But that's not true, right? I mean, you got to network and meet people correctly, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And networking is a skill. You can get better at it. At some point in my life, I realized I'm not networking at all. And I'd say that was 2011, um, maybe 2010. I decided, I'm gonna have lunch every day with somebody who's interesting because I have lunch every day, and other people have lunch around the same time anyway. I was gonna send a bunch of invitation
Yeah.
to people I'm intrigued by. I want to learn more about your perspective. Jason, could you teach me about how to do a podcast? And we did that.
Yeah.
Like, and you can learn something from everybody who walked in different shoes, because you don't have their wealth of experiences. And if the intentions are there, you can actually learn quite a bit. You know, two-way conversation. And I had some of my memorable, like lunch meetings with Arul Menezes was like my skip manager. Like he was not supposed to talk to me, but he was so humble and willing to help. Right. So I remember him giving me some like very meaningful like pearls of wisdom, if you will, that stay with me until today.
So change the subject a little bit. What do you do for fun?
And I do a lot of things for fun, but the biggest one is paddleboarding and dancing. So basically, I enjoy spending a lot of time on the water. It's kind of like put me in a zen space. It's like I don't need to be with anybody else. Just like kind of like spirituality. Like it's kind of like cleanse my soul um, to be on the water.
I heard that I've never done paddleboarding, but I heard that you have to have really strong calves to do paddleboarding.
Well, you don't actually need to be very. So paddleboarding is one of those sports that you can do, you know, without being very healthy, without being like having great fitness, which is part of the reason I like it. Like when I started doing paddleboarding, I wasn't particularly like, physically